I'm going to start again. Can you hear me now? Well, welcome to Global Harmony House, to our Thursday evening insightful conversations. And Zoomers, hello, Zoomers, welcome as well. As you know, we also do this online. How many of you is your first time here? I know I see. Oh, great. Hello. Well, welcome. So my name is Michelle. I co-MC with one of our panelists, who is Louise. I've been doing this for a while now. And I believe you're going to get a lot out of this tonight, but I believe every Thursday night, I certainly get that. I'm going to dive right in. It is the cycle of life panel discussion. Oftentimes we have individuals speaking on various topics, but we've decided that it's been helpful to get panels to hear a more personal approach and a moderator. And we have a wonderful group tonight. So we open up our moderator is Sister Carmen, who is a registered nurse, a retired registered nurse. And she's been studying and practicing Raja Yoga meditation with the Brahma Kumaris for 27 years. In fact, she was my first instructor here. She coordinates the Brahma Kumaris activities in the Bronx and has been engaged in coordinating activities for healthcare professionals through the Point of Life Foundation. And this is to sustain spirituality and healthcare practices and enhance the quality of those experiences in healthcare. She has a passion for women's empowerment movement, and she has thus created and facilitated very engaging experiential workshops and retreats, notably for women. Next, we have Louise, as I had mentioned, my co-MC. You'll see her maybe next week doing this. Louise Montalbano is a retired teacher and educator. Actually, I was told to say an educator in high school English. She has been a student of Raja Yoga for more than 9 years, and she enjoys, and I know this for sure, participating in a variety of Brahma Kumari outreach program. And she tells me, and she's telling you, she loves emceeing on Thursday insightful conversation. And it's true, she really does. And she's very grateful for the impact that these spiritual studies have had on her personal growth and all of her relationships. And last but not least, we have Narayan Govindasamy, who we don't always get to see because he's always here. But he's usually up there with brother Eric. He's an eye-tech professional practicing Raja Yoga meditation for over 15 years. And you usually can find him tucked away in our IB room, mastering the controls for this very presentation. So we're glad that you're on stage with us tonight, because he's very insightful as well. He's a man of many talents. So with that, I'm going to ask our moderator and our two panelists to please come up. And thank you so much. I'll see you later.
Hey, Om Shanti. Good evening, everyone. Lovely to see all the beautiful smiling faces. Okay, great. We're here together this evening, and I know it's going to be very dynamic and it's going to be very interesting. And you're all going to leave here, hopefully, having taken a lot more than we have to give you. As Sister Michelle mentioned before, that the theme that we are looking at for this month is the cycle of life. Anyone has been here this month already? The last 2 Thursdays? Okay, the cycle of life. And of course, we have Brother Narayan and Sister Louise, and they're going to be sharing on this theme with us on the basis of much of what they're going to share will be influenced by much of what they have learned through their studies with the Brahma Kumaris, the knowledge here, but also some personal experiences, I'm hoping, will maybe give a little bit of a life to it, so that it's not just an intellectual, theoretical construct, but we can begin to see how this concept of understanding the life cycle, how it impacts my life, and what do I have to do in enhancing the quality of my life through recognizing that everything is cyclical and all of my life is cyclical and everything I do has an impact, right? So I don't just perform an action now or have an experience with something now and that's the end of it. Everything had a past, it has a present, what I'm doing in the moment. The past is what influences me now. What I do now, experience and create now, is also sowing the seed for what I'm going to experience in the future. So everything has three aspects to it, three aspects of time: the past, the present, and the future. So what I'm hoping is that we will understand the significance, the importance of the present, because the present is the only place where we live. Right? Right now, you're not living in the past, I hope. It's gone. You remember it. You remember something, but you're not there. It's gone, right? And you're not living in the future. So you can't jump over into the future and manipulate what's over there because you want it to be different. The only thing you have available to you and the only place you have power is in the present, right? So we're hoping you will leave here understanding that and being clear about how the past influences the present, but how in the present I am creating the future, right? Also, we want you to understand, and we're hoping you will understand or recognize your part in this game, because it's a game, no? Past, the present, the future. What is my part in it? How am I playing this game? How am I influencing it? Because it's really about me, right? And I am the creator of my life experiences, and I am the one who's acting the parts. And then I am the one who experiences it. So it's all about me. So I need to understand that. So there are three things we want to understand about this play, is that everything is constantly changing. There is nothing in life that remains the same. Even if we would have loved it to be the same. Put it out there. Sorry about that. Okay, sorry. Long as the garbage truck doesn't come. Okay, so everything is changing constantly. Sometimes we will say, well, why can't things be the same? Why they had to change? Why they have to get so bad? It used to be better then, right? Couldn't it be the same as when I was a child? Why does it have to be so different now? Can't be this. Everything in this world, everything in this life, everything in this physical world is constantly changing. And it's cyclical in pattern. So yes, it's night, it's day, it's night, it's day, right? It's spring, summer, autumn, winter. It'll be spring again. So it's cyclical, right? But also there is a law that's governing this, and the law is called the law of entropy. And the law says energy constantly changes, but it changes from perfection to imperfection. That's a law. It's changing from a state of concentration and order to a state of disorder and chaos. It's the law. Even though we would love it to remain nice and perfect and no problems and everything is new always, but it will change from new to old. And the same applies to the physical world as it applies to the spiritual world, spiritual world. So it's the way it is. And we just need to understand it so we can know how to deal with it when we have to deal with it, because we have to deal with it. It's our life, right? It's our life. So there are little cycles. We're familiar with all the little cycles, right? 24 hours, you have night and day. Night, morning, midday, evening, nighttime, midnight, dawn, morning, and it repeats, right? Little cycle. We have the little cycle of what? What else? We have little cycles of the season. It's spring, it's summer, it's autumn, it's winter. Yeah, we have a life cycle or human life cycle. So we go from the fetus, we go from the little cells, the little eggs, the little sperm and ovary, then the little fetus, and then a baby, and then a little child, and then a teenager, and then an adult, and then an old man or an old woman, and then we die, and then we come back again, and we start all over again. Cycle, right? The plant, from the seed to the tree, back to the seed, back to the tree, and it's cyclical. Right? So that's the law. The water from the ocean to the rain, to the river, to the stream, to the lake, back to the ocean. Like that. It's natural. It's normal. Everything in life is cyclical. And so when we understand that, then nothing should become very much of a surprise. Right? All right. So with that said, I'm going to turn to my panelists up here. And my life, because I'm going to ask you a question. So my life and experiences in the present has a past and has a future. In the moment, I am experiencing what I created in the past, while at the same time, I'm also creating my experience for the future. Right? So I'm experiencing now what I created in the past, but as I'm experiencing it, I'm also creating what I will experience in the future. So in that present, we have power. There is a saying, and you may have heard it, your life is what you make it. We've all heard that before. And you believed it? You believe your life is what you make it, even when it's rough, even when it's not so nice? Okay, I never believe that. I always think it's wonderful. If things are going well, I will take the credit for it. But if things are not going well, I'm sorry, I couldn't have had anything to do with that. All right, so the question is, do you see that statement to be always true? My life, your life is what you make it. Is that always true for you? And can you speak to us about this specifically in relationship to the philosophy of karma? The law of karma. It says what goes around comes around. So can you speak to us? Do you see that this is a statement all the time? Correct? Is there any time you could see it differently? And I'm going to just leave it, whoever wants to answer. And
Shanti. Yes, karma is always true. What we do, what we hear, what we say, that always comes back to us one way or another. I have experienced it several times, within a day, within a month, within the year. For example, during the exam time, we study very well and we get good marks. And if we don't study well, we do not get good marks. Probably we might end up in failing. So this regeneration is part of nature. What is good today might change over the time. And also in the point connected to karma and what we do and we get the experience of it. So if we sow a seed and we get the tree, we get the fruits, we get the flowers, we get the vegetables out of it. What we do will definitely come back to us. Something might come back right away. We may get food right away. Something might take 2 months, something might take 6 months, something might take even 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. But we'll definitely get the fruit out of it. Some other plants that we see, we might get flowers within a month, within the same season. If you plant a big tree, it might take few years to get useful. Some other things might take even 10, 20 years. Mango tree might take 5 years, 7 years. So based upon what you see, but the return is definite. It is not necessarily to be from the same place. It could be from different place. Say, for example, you are helping somebody today. You are going on a train station, you are helping somebody who is in struggle, who is struggling, who is not able to walk. It is not necessarily that same person might come back and help you. The same help might come from somewhere else when there is a need for you. If you are doing a good act, if you do a charity, if you create a karma, that will definitely come back to you one way or another. So the philosophy of karma, it is something we can experience on day-to-day basis also. So throughout the day, what we do, first of all, it will impact us, it will help us. If you do a good karma, right away we experience happiness. That itself is a return of it. So over the time, it will help us to create more good karma. Once we experience the happiness, we see a value in it, and we try to create more value, more experience of happiness. So yes, karma is definitely true. It comes back to us one way or another. What we create is what we get.
Thank you. Yeah, you can add to that.
Yeah, well, first I want to say that I think, well, welcome, first of all. Good to see you from this perspective. I think karma has gotten a very bad rap. We always think of it as negative. The beauty of karma, to me, and what I've learned here, is that karma is a two-way street. And that when I can feel true power is when I can take a situation and change it for myself and change it for someone else. For example, my husband's not feeling well. I can get frustrated. I have a choice of getting frustrated. I have a choice of being, oh, come on, please. He's just anxious and having a rough time at work. And sometimes you can get a little self-centered, right? I'm not. It's a golden opportunity for me to earn really good karma because it's not coming from me. It's not me trying, thinking of how I feel. I have been really for 2 weeks now feeling so good that I can be silent when he needs silence. I cannot lecture about these wonderful Brahmin things that I learn here. I can just create an atmosphere at home that's so safe for him. And it's nothing like what I used to be before I took the course. I can tell you that. Anyone who knew me when knew I was not a soft-spoken person who could put myself second. You're smiling. So karma is beautiful because you can count on it all the time. And yes, it's cause and effect, and that's the most basic law, but it's so much deeper than that when you know that it's constant and it's run, the whole universe runs on karma, not just the cycle. But of course, the cycle depends on the karma I've created, positive and negative, we believe, in former lives. So I do have to settle karmic debts, but there's a way to settle out of suffering. And then there's a way to settle by being very genuinely. I put my ego in a paper bag, put it on the shelf, and come from my heart and my good judgment. And these are the tools that I've learned here so that I have to tell you, when something bad happens, like I started with my husband. He's the one who's not well at the moment. There is a beauty in being able to know my belief from here that he's learning something from his settlements too. And whenever I get sick, I really do believe I'm burning off karma and that it's purifying in a way instead of, oh, poor me, and getting on the phone with 6 people and relating how terrible I feel. I just got off the phone with someone in the car who was doing that. It's just a beautiful thing. So did I answer your question?
Yeah, and actually you answered the next question I was going to ask is, knowing what we know, that the action that I perform or what I do in the moment is sowing a seed for the future. If I know that, and I'm having some experiences that are uncomfortable, how do I break that cycle? Having some experiences that are uncomfortable, knowing that I know it has to do with something from the past that is influencing how I'm responding to what is happening, then how do I break the cycle? Because I can't go back in the past to change what I did. It has already been done. And I can't jump into the future to manipulate it, but I can in the moment do something to change the experience and to begin to create and to break that cycle of negative experiences. But so you partly answered that.
Yeah,
You
I'd like
pretty
to
much
answer this.
answered that. Is there anything
No, I
else you
do.
would
Yeah. I think one of the big mistakes that we all make, tell me if there's anyone here who does it, is dredging up past memories. It's like watching a movie and replaying the scenes that you don't like. I replay scenes in my head. So the first effort is to stop doing that. And we call it putting a full stop on that. So, because as little children, we get older and we get little pictures of ourselves. We're this, we're that. You know, in public, I was smart and got good grades and pretty. But in private, there was some shaming and guilting. And who do I believe? I grow up to feel that I don't have the self-esteem or the self-respect that someone who might have had less, you know, judgmental parents might have. And then I come here and people are so giving and loving. And I had to stop as often as possible playing those old scenes. What was the second half of what you asked?
It's
Really?
basically,
yeah.
yeah, how do I
Is
break
that-
the cycle?
Yeah, how do I
Yeah,
break
how
the
do I break
cycle?
cycle?
Okay, here we have something we call the 8 powers, and I won't go through all 8. Any of you know the 8 powers? But it really teaches me how to not blurt. I was a blurter. It teaches me to think before I speak. It teaches me, without naming each power, it teaches me how will you feel if I tell you what I'm thinking? That's the power to, and then I have the power to tolerate, which means I'm giving up. I'm seeing you as a soul, not a body, who is struggling because you're behaving in a way I don't like. If I jump in and get into the boxing match and fight with you, I'm creating bad karma for both of us because I'm responsible for what I do to you. And then I'm responsible for what I've done to me. But if I can sit there and tolerate, and I'm not talking about sucking it in and, you know, really having that resentment deep down, just see them. She's having a bad day. So there are ways I can turn things around. The power to pack up, the power to just leave a situation alone. The power if somebody is insulting me, my power to absolutely not take it as though God has spoken. It's a person who comes with their own set of karma. So there are many, many powers we have, I think. You want to add something?
Yeah, you want to share something? How do you break that whole cycle?
So in this world, we see peoples with the different categories. We see people who are very wealthy, who are very happy, who are not that wealthy, and there is a difference in the class between the peoples, and there is a reason why it is getting created. So if you take God as a person who doesn't discriminate anybody, everybody should be exactly same. But there is a difference in the society. So the difference is happening based on our karma, based on the way we do things, based on the way we created our past karma. So things holding happening now based on what was happening in the past. So the real way to break something is to fully understand what's happening. So the situation currently we are in, the world currently it is right now, is because of number of events happened in the past. There are so many decisions was made, so many things has happened. Somebody won, somebody lost, a lot of agreements. So based on all those incidents and activities, the current world was created. So the same thing within us also. So based on our past life, our experience, our culture, our learning, our surroundings, our day-to-day learnings, whatever we hear, what we learn, all of that is creating our current situation. If you want to break that, so we have to understand why it is happening and what is happening, why our current situation is created. So then we also understand the law of karma and we know what is the right thing to do. What is what do you call doing the good things, right things will eventually help us to create good future, bright future for us in the future. So by understanding the law of karma and by understanding that knowledge of law of karma and the past is creating our future, so we should be able to do the right thing, correct thing, helping others, creating happiness, creating comfortable environment, and living in a comfortable environment. So doing good karma eventually help us to break the cycle.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is what's very important is that we understand. Because if we don't understand, you know, there is a saying, ignorance is no excuse for the law. Right? Those of you who drive, if I go out there and get in a car and start driving down the block, and I don't understand that when I come to a red light, I'm supposed to stop because I didn't know, there's no excuse that you have an accident, you're responsible. Right? It's the same with life. We're driving our lives through life. And so we need to understand. And if we don't understand, it's okay. We didn't understand, but now we know we need to understand. Otherwise, we keep making the same mistakes over and over and over again and getting the same results. And they say that is insanity. Right? Okay, so nothing will change unless we understand. So we need to understand, and then we begin to apply the laws, the bits that we have learned, so that we are beginning to make new choices. Okay. All right. So, I mean, there is so much more we could go on and talk about karma, right?
Yeah, can I just
So-
add, is this a good place to talk about not watching so much TV? Yeah,
Let's see how, yeah, maybe.
yeah, to rise above what's going on that is hard to deal with is the secret that I learned here. To really not feed all that stuff into my head. And because there's a very safe place I can go to inside of me. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, that's a good way to break cycles, that we don't reinforce what is hurting us, what is not to our best, in our best interest, what doesn't work for us. We keep reinforcing that. Then we're not, we want to change, but we're doing things that's reinforcing the old. Right? So we need to understand that. And that's watching a lot of stuff that is making me unhappy and miserable and angry every time I see it. Right? Okay. So when we look at all the chaos and the confusion and the unhappiness and the fear and the sorrow and all the difficulties, and for some, the hopelessness that is happening, knowing what you know, that there is a cycle and that everything is cyclical and everything is constantly changing. Nothing remains the same. Knowing all of that, what's your response when you're confronted with things that are not going well? When you're confronted with challenging situations, you know that there's a cycle. You know nothing remains the same. You know things will change. How does that help you to respond to things that come to you that are challenging?
So there is a quality in everything. Say an example, if you take apple, it gives the apple taste. If you take orange, it says sour taste, orange taste. So there is a quality in everything. It always reflects its quality. So it doesn't change based on situations. When somebody is not good, apple doesn't change its taste. The grape doesn't change its taste. So the human being has a quality. I am a quality. I am a being. I am a soul. I am a happy. I am a happy. But I always give happiness. I always give peace. I always give joy in us. So I always have to express or give what I am. So if you start giving sorrow, so then probably you are not reflecting your quality. You are accepting what they are up to and you are reflecting it. So we cannot stop situations. The only thing we have control is on ourselves. We can change ourselves. That's the only thing we have control. Ultimately, by looking at us, somebody else can change themselves, or we can influence them. We can guide them. We can help. The only right that we have is to change ourselves. So having the right awareness and having the right self-confidence, having the right self-esteem, and staying in our self-esteem all the time will help us to protect ourselves. That eventually might potentially help others. So the first thing is we have to stay in our awareness. We have to stay in our self-esteem. So we should always be reflecting, giving happiness, joyness, peaceful environment around us. So we should not be getting impacted or influenced by somebody else's unhappiness. So we should be able to accept it, calm down, bring it to peace, bring it to peace. So bring them also into happiness. So that's the way that we should be able to.
So I grew up in a house where you had to be the smartest and you had to have the right answer. And it's in my senior years now, it's joyful when I surprise people, especially my family, my sister, my brother, by not responding the way I used to. And the way I used to typically was from my ego, and if there's confusion about the definition of ego, it's the enemy here. It's not a good thing. It's coming from a place of what we call body consciousness. How do I look? How do I feel? It's about me, about me. And there's lots of little egos running around in my body. So if I don't come from there when I used to, so don't think you can't do what Brother Narayan is saying, or how can I constantly give happiness and all. In my finest moments, I can change a relationship around by not giving them a fight, even though they deserve it. I can change a relation. I can change a relationship around by listening better and responding appropriately. And these are powerful, good karma things. They really are. So there's always an opportunity, even if someone is defaming you or your God, there's a way to just sit back and let them be them and not, it's like a shield, I'll detach and watch, like I'm sitting in the front row of a movie theater and watching the scene instead of participating in it. And it's not rude and it's not arrogant. It's self-preservation. And there's my self-esteem, because it takes a lot for me, who used to, decades ago, try to prove I was right all the time. Can I do it perfectly? No, they'll sneak up now and then, those little egos, those little egos. But it's okay. We're human. We do the best we can.
And that, what you did just now, both of you, was answer the question I didn't ask, which was the question I was going to ask. And the question I was going to ask, how do you change the trajectory? Yeah. And you both answered that, the trajectory of, the unhappiness or whatever it is that I'm not liking. How do I change that? But the other part of the question that I was asking also, which is about knowing what I know, how do I respond when something comes up, in a sense of how do I, but you could also answer that now. How do you feel? How does it make you feel to know that you have the power within you to change? You don't have to go down the same path that you've always gone. So the aspect of how does that make you feel in this world when everything else is falling apart for everybody?
So we hear things throughout the day, feedbacks or comments or anything from many people around us. Whenever we interact, there will be some conversation. If you say something, you will hear something, you will say something, you will hear something else back. It's not possible to not stop the conversation. There will be some exchanges, but what I practice is I always stay in my self-respect. So I know what I am. I know what is my qualities and what I have to express and what I have to say. If I hear some hot conversation, for example, if somebody says something against me or saying something bad I did, whatever it is, but I don't have to respond right away, or I don't have to say this exact same things. I can accept, I can merge in myself, and I can respond in my way. So instead of keep responding to everything, we can accept and we can give proper response with our own self-respect. So I am a peaceful person. I am a happy person. I always say the good thing. I do not speak bad about anybody. So I stay in my self-respect. So I respond based on that, not in the same way the person is coming to me. So I accept, I merge everything in myself. Then I respond with my self-respect. So staying always in my self-respect, knowing our lines, and we should speak only what we are supposed to speak. So staying within the line, staying within the self-discipline will over the time create a good response. It may not come right away. It doesn't come overnight. It's a long-term practice, but we can practice from small things. So discipline, this is very small thing. We can start from small discipline, getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning. So doing the first thing, as soon as get up, brush your teeth, take bath and go to the next step. So small discipline we can start building, and we can do day to day what do you call the experiments with the people to see what kind of question we are getting and take a step back and think about it. So this is what I'm hearing. Should I have to react right away? Should I have to respond right away or accept it? Don't respond right away. Go back and think about it. What's the best way that we can respond? What's the positive way that we can respond? That's going to benefit all of us. So take a step back and thinking, staying always in your self-respect. Never go out of the line. Will over the time help us.
You asked how I feel, right? Okay, I will confess. The power is incredible. I feel the power. Now, when we talk about power, especially in this country, we feel that someone has money, success, what's their title. The power that I have when I can take that power and turn a situation around. I can manipulate in a healthy way what might happen. And that is the most wonderful, newest power that I have. You know, if you live long enough, you tend to polish it up a little bit. And I'm not saying I'm 100% consistent, but I love the feeling of that joy of being able to turn a bad situation into something really good, or at least neutral if it's really bad, you know?
And I was really appreciating, Louise, that you brought up this whole aspect before of the ego, because the reason why we are not always able to do that is because the ego gets in the way. Or ego gets in the way, and Brother Narayan is talking about self-respect, and the ego is what prevents me from experiencing my own self-respect. So the ego wants me to react when something happens, when somebody does something, says something that I don't like, rather than stepping back and having good wish and wishing them well and understanding they're having a difficult time right now and not taking it on personal. The ego says, no, you can't just sit down like that and don't take it on. You're weak. They're going to think you're weak. They're going to think you can't defend yourself, right? So I have to go out there and defend myself, right? So that's the work of the ego. And the ego really gets in our way of experiencing ourselves and our beauty and our strength and our own capacity to love and to care and be compassionate and be forgiving. And just honoring myself for who I am and not allowing anything that happens on the outside to tell me something different, that I need to react, that I need to get upset. People believe you have to get angry, otherwise they think you're weak. Right? So that's the ego. So thank you, Louise, for talking about that little thing that runs around and telling us something and making us believe it to be true. All right. So I'm going to ask you another interesting question. So we talked before about the little cycles, these little cycles that we go through, but there is a bigger cycle. There's a little cycles in a big cycle. There is a big cycle, a cycle of life, a cycle of time. And we refer to that cycle as the world drama cycle. So we have our little personal dramas and our little personal plays and cycles that we go through. But there's a big cycle that all of this fits in, and it's called the world drama cycle. And as we said before, in a cycle, that things will go from cyclical, there's a pattern to it. It will go from new to old, from old to new, from the dark to the light, from the night to the day. And the world goes through that cycle as well. And so what we may see happening, we may see the dark. Right now, it looks pretty dark, right? Does it look dark to anybody? I'm not talking about the night outside. I'm talking about the unlimited night that we are in that looks like, God, no matter how many lights I turn on, it still looks dark. It feels dark. It's experienced as being dark. So it seems that way, but the same applies for the big cycle as it does for the small cycles. For the night, 24-hour night and day, the big cycle goes through the same thing. It goes through the night and it goes through the day. It goes through a time when there is light in the world. And when we say light, we're not talking about the light of the sun or the electric light or the light of the lamp. We're talking about the light of human consciousness, where we, even though the night comes and it's dark from the night, but we are consciously in a state of being happy. We are in our true essence. What is the truth of us? The essence of love, the essence of peace, the essence of joy, the essence of purity, the essence of bliss, of power, of wisdom. All of that, when we are in that state, we say we are in the light. We are not ignorant. There's no ignorance. There's no illusion. We are not being led down a dark alley, not knowing where we're going or what we need to do. So we are in that state where we can make decisions. We can act from a place of truth, where the soul does not experience sorrow. It only experiences love and light and happiness, right? That's when the word is in truth. And many of us remember that age is referred to that age as the paradise or heaven. But it goes through this big cycle. And so I'm going to ask Brother Narayan and also Sister Louise to speak to us about this cycle, this bigger cycle, because I don't know if everyone here understands or know anything about this big cycle, because we're all very confused about what's happening in the world today. And why is the world like this? It feels heavy and dark, doesn't it? And it's not accidental, it's happening for a reason. So there's a big cycle. So can you share a little bit about this cycle so we kind of get a feel for where we came from originally in terms of the state of the world, what we've gone through, but where we are right now, why the world feels so heavy. And what's next?
Regeneration is part of nature. Whatever is new, that has to become old over the time. So there are something that get old within 3 months. For example, we have trees, lot of trees around us. So in the spring, the summertime, we see so much green. The tree is full of green, everything is so nice. But in the winter, everything become like dark, nothing. There is no leaves at all. When somebody look at the tree in the winter time, they can't imagine how it was during the summertime. So they have to come to the summertime to see how it was. And there is a degree of quality in the trees. So that also changes because of weather pattern, because of temperature, because of other factors in the weather, changes over the time. So likewise, there is a whole drama. So there is a Satyug, we call it as Satyug golden age. So where people have very good qualities. So everyone is so pure and so new, and they are all empowered with the knowledge, and they have very good qualities. Nobody can think of any unhappiness. There is so much happiness in everyone's heart, and there is a law and order in everything. So there is no need for police department. Everyone is so disciplined, and there is a happiness filled in everyone's heart. There is no third person needed to be disciplined. Things are in so disciplined. Even the nature is very disciplined. And over the time it changes because of the law of things. Over the time it changes. Regeneration is part of everything. So over the time, because we are taking rebirth, because time is moving, we are creating a lot of karmas, we do so much activities. So things are changing. So golden age becomes the next age, silver age, and that turn into copper age, and that turn into stone age. So things are changing over the time because of the interaction, because of the quality changes. So we do think of 4 ages: golden age, silver age, copper age, and iron age. So currently we are in iron age. So then we get empowered, we learn things. So because of the quality that we're increasing in ourselves, we eventually go back to golden age. The cycle is keep repeating. So that's the law of regeneration. So whatever is in highest stage one day, eventually it comes to lowest stage. Then it go back to highest stage. So it's part of the nature, like that we see in the trees in every year. Whatever is so green today, 6 months it becomes so dry. In another 6 weeks it becomes so green. So it's part of nature. So here also in the big world cycles, so we have 4 ages. Whatever is so powerful, so knowledgeable, and so peaceful one day, that eventually becomes so chaotic. And that chaotic will go away with the power of knowledge, with the learning, with the practice, with the habits. The way we create our karmic accounts, eventually that chaotic world will go away and become a powerful, golden age, peaceful.
That sounds like a lot of hope there, right? And before you answer, because I'm going to ask you to answer another question. That you hold on.
I'm gonna move it.
So that gives us a lot of, right? So what you're going to answer, sister, is so the world has gone from its beautiful state to where we are today. But with this understanding, is this is not the end. This is not the end. There is, because it's a cycle, it has to return. Does anybody feel that? Can't be always like this, right? Can't get much worse either. So we have to return. When the night is over, the day has to come again. It's a given. So the night of the world that we are in right now will shift, and the light will come again, the day will come again. But for the light to come again, for us to go from, we naturally, as Brother Narayan is saying, we naturally go from the new to the old. We naturally come down. We don't have to make any effort. But to go back from the old to the new, to go back to where we came from, requires quite a bit of effort. It doesn't happen automatically on autopilot. We have to do something to help to facilitate that to happen. So we have to become instruments to make that happen. So it takes a lot of power. It takes a lot of energy. It also takes power from somewhere else. Or power, or wisdom, what we have inside, but also from somewhere else. And I'm going to ask Louise to speak about what is this power that is needed to happen, and how do we gain?
So that's why I'm here, and you know me if you come every Thursday night. That's why I do what I do here, because I connect automatically with that power whom we call God, and affectionately we call him Baba, which is more like daddy, right? And there is so much love that I believe guides us if we open ourselves to meditation, which, by the way, doesn't have to be a scary word. How many of you meditate? You don't have to really raise your hand. But if you're thinking you're doing it wrong, we do it open eye. We do it as we're walking and talking to people. If I stay connected, which is the proper definition of yoga, yoga is connection. And if I stay connected with my higher power, with my God, whatever, I haven't gone to heaven, but I can visit it. You know, I can come back. And as long as I'm elevating, now, when do we do this? Now, in the present. That's why we're all here. We're up here, you're there. Take the course, Joan. Some of you have, some of you haven't. But you know, when you live in a closeness with the goodness, whatever you want to call. And speaking of the cycle and its beginning, we have to elevate now and create this energy on the planet. And it's happening worldwide. We have so many friends of the BK, of the Brahma Kumaris, who are not necessarily Brahma Kumaris wearing white, but they're deeply devotional, religious people who are coming together now because, ironically, of the Iron Age stuff that we're in. It's drawing people. You feel it? You know what I'm talking about. I'm not talking a foreign language here. So we all automatically seek our own nature that's innate, we believe in us, the loving and peaceful nature that we began with. And in Western civilization, we have a Garden of Eden that was after heaven with the harps and the halos and the wings and all of these images. People come in fresh and new at the beginning of the cycle. They're going to be pure because they're people I have breakfast with who are purifying themselves. I'm doing the best I can. Look at the company I keep multiple times a week. I choose to live in this world, even though you may catch me on the street or tutoring or whatever I'm doing, and I may look like the highest part of me is connected all the time to something richer and something better. And meditation, anyway, any kind of, sometimes if I'm, I'll write, Dear Baba, I just see what comes. Love, Louise. And it focuses me, even when I may be upset about something else, I get focused that way. So it's a beautiful, the power, the Shakti power, that we all have within us. If we just elevate out of this world as often as we can and be who we really are, you know, no matter what religion you come from. I come from a religion that did not believe in reincarnation. I know my husband did also, a different religion. But the truth is, we do believe in reincarnation, and the belief in the reincarnation that I, the soul, just change bodies like I change my underwear every day. You know, I do. um, it's a marvelous thing when you can realize that, yeah, we're getting tired, we're wearing down, we see it in the world, but we began fresh as daisies. We really did, with all of these virtues and powers. So of course we're going to wear down. We call that entropy. You know, someone once said, the minute you're born, you start to die. You know, the chaos that ensues. So that's grand for me to believe and know me, that I've been male, female, experiencing, yeah, long time.
Okay, thank you. All right, so time goes by when you're having fun. It's almost 8 o'clock already. So the last bit I would just want to leave is the idea to recognize the idea that we were once beautiful. The world was once beautiful. And we all carry within us that beauty that is always looking to express itself in the world. And so when we see things that are not so beautiful, we don't feel happy because that beauty still lives in us and is still wanting to be expressed. Even if we don't know how to make that happen, it's still there and wants to be expressed. It's the natural cycle. So even when we moved away from it because we forgot who we are and what we have inside, but what we have inside lives there always and is always wanting to re-emerge. All right. That's like to come back home. We're looking to come back home to complete the cycle. Right. So life cycle is as such where we were once beautiful, lovely, loving, happy, peaceful beings, every one of us. And we've gone through the cycle. We've disappeared. We've forgotten who we are and what we are. But the time has come again when we're all seeking to return. Does everybody feel that way? Enough is enough. That's why there is such a surge of people moving towards looking for newness in terms of their spiritual life and their religious or spiritual practices, because there is something inside of us that's calling us to come back to what we have left behind. The cycle has to be completed, as they would say. All right, so thank you all. Does anybody have a quick question? Because we need to do a meditation to finish. Anybody has a quick question? Are you happy? Yeah. Anybody not happy? Yes? Nobody not happy. All right. So are you good, Sister Michelle? Yeah. Thank you so much. And let's just finish with just a few words of meditation, of reflection. So I'm going to invite you all to just allow the body to relax. Just take a few deep breaths and just feel the body sinking into that seat. No tension. Let go. Any questions for right now? You can come back to that anytime. Just allow the mind to come to a place of stillness, of silence. and breathe and feel that silence. Feel that you're in a place where everything is okay. Forget about what's going on in the world outside. Just allow yourself to be present with yourself right now, here, and nowhere else. It's that gift you're giving to yourself. Turn your attention gently to the center of the forehead, behind the eyes. And feel that there is a space behind the eyes, silent, that is still. And in that place is absolute peace. Know this is your real, true essence, the essence of peace. This is who you are. You sit in this space as a soul, separate from the body, using the body, but separate. I am light. I am peace. And from this space where peace resides, there is this beautiful energy of love, of joy, of truth. I am eternally that being of truth. And I may have walked away or forgotten myself at some point, but that truth, that peace, that love resides within me eternally. And no matter how far I go from myself, from the real me, that which is within me will sometime, at some point, call me to come back home to myself. It is a cycle that I go through, the cycle of truth that lives within, that will always be the basis of who I am at any time. That will always be the basis to call me back to myself, to return to the reality of me, the soul, the being that is peaceful, that is full of love, the being that is joyful, the being that is real. And so, as I sit in this awareness, knowing who I am, knowing that everything is cyclical and constant, knowing that one day I will return and must return, but that right now, in this moment, with this knowledge, I have the power to return, to want to return, to seek to return, and to open my heart, to allow myself the courage that I need to begin the journey back to self. The awareness of being a soul is complete, that is perfect, and that is divine. Take one more minute and just allow yourself to feel that beauty, that love, that joy, and that welling up inside. Feel it. Know it. This is who you are. This is what your life was meant to be expressed. Shanti.
Well, for sharing your experiences, both spiritual. Everything. It's just, it's great. Thank you so much. Thank you, Sister Carmen, for moderating so beautifully in our two panelists. And I would like you to stay just for a quick for Toli, which is sweets afterwards and a blessing call. And next week we continue our cycle of life with Brother Eric will be giving just leading a discussion on the senior years. I can vouch for that. Yes, you don't have to raise your hand yourself, but I'll raise my hand. And also on Sunday, we have World Meditation Hour where all the centers together. So it can be done here at 6:30 on Sunday and also virtually World Meditation.
Well, you, oh, I don't, it's on the flyer. There's a book. You know anything about it? Okay, I promise him I didn't once. If you go out, there's a green flyer on the bulletin board. I think it's this Sunday, but I don't want to give miss. I was just gonna say that. What time? What time is it? 9? What did you? 5 p.m. Okay. Shanti, thank you for coming.
Shanti.